We have got another special edition of the latest news to keep you in the groove with Maya. Maya, who's on the Zoom with us today?
Blake Neely.
Blake Neely, woo! How are you?
Hello, everybody. I'm great. I'm so honored to be here.
Well, thank you for joining us. Maya, take it away, girl.
Okay, so first of all, just thank you so much for calling in. I'm so excited to be talking to you right now.
Oh, I was excited that you even knew who I was.
So my first question for you is, what was the inspiration to get into composing music for movies and TV shows?
Well, that's a very easy answer. I was sort of a classical music nerd when I was growing up. And so I knew all of this classical music. And I remember when I was 8 years old, I went to see a movie, and it was Star Wars, the original Star Wars. And I thought, I've never heard this music before. And my parents said, no, that was written for the movie by a person named John Williams. And I said, oh, that's a job? And they said, yeah. I said, I want that job. So it was sort of a lifelong pursuit after that to try to get here.
Oh, cool. So who are your biggest musical influences?
Oh my gosh, I have so many. Of course, I have classical music influences from Beethoven and Bach to Arvo Part and Benjamin Britten. I have film score influences like John Williams, Hans Zimmer, James Newton Howard, Thomas Newman. And then I get influenced by pop music a lot too. So just last night I was doing a long listen to just some pop tracks. So it's very inspiring. I just get inspired by music.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So you collaborate with Greg Berlanti on
who I understand you talked to, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
How was that? He's one of my dearest friends. How was he?
It was so cool. It was like just so surreal.
Oh, he has lots to talk about too.
Yeah. So you collaborate with him on a lot of projects, including one of my favorite movies, Love, Simon. How did your partnership begin?
Well, let me answer one thing, which is I didn't do Love, Simon with him. Another composer, a friend of mine, Rob Simonson, did a great job. That is a wonderful movie, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wonderful.
I'm so sorry. I saw it.
That's okay. That's okay. I take pride in anything Greg does. And I did do a movie called Life as We Know It with Greg, which was a fun one. But Greg was actually the very first person to hire me as a composer. I'd been composing for a long time, since I was very young. And I had a job in the business as what's called an orchestrator. An orchestrator works with composers and will write out on the score sheets for each of the instruments. And I had that job. I was working with many composers. And Greg had this TV show. It was his very first TV show of his own. And he was looking for a composer. And a friend of mine knew him and said, why don't you talk to Blake? And Greg met with me, and I wrote some music, and he hired me. And we've been together ever since. It's 19 years this year.
Oh, cool.
It's a long time and a lot of projects. I think we've done 25 shows together.
Oh, cool. So you've composed music for many of my favorite shows, including The Flash and Arrow, and All American.
Mm-hmm.
What is your composing process like?
So when I first start a show, I like to read the script, and then I just sort of surround myself with images that are inspiring for that show. For instance, when I was writing Arrow, while they were filming, I just put a bunch of pictures of the comic book character Green Arrow, but also, his story starts, as you know, alone on an island for 5 years. So I kind of surrounded myself with those kinds of images and to get this lonely feeling. And then I would just write and write and write. And I wrote this suite. It was about 9 minutes long. It's on Spotify with all of some of my themes that I wanted for him. And I played it for Greg and he loved it. And then they finally finished filming. And then what you do, that's just the early stages. That's just coming up with ideas. But then you start, once you have the movie or the TV show, then you start in literally frame by frame, go through and say, I want music to start there and stop there, and it needs to swell here and turn a corner here and action here and emotion here. So it's very much, you go through the show scene by scene and then write to it. I use my computers and keyboards here and write it.
Oh, cool. So what aspects of a show or a character influence what you compose?
It depends. It's usually their personality. Oliver is very stern and very stoic, and Barry Allen is pretty funny, and he was kind of clumsy when we first met him, and he's very, very smart. So there's those elements that I try to take into consideration. Other things like All American, I view Spencer as a bit lonely, so that went into his, composing his theme. But also he's another kind of superhero, right? He's like this. So it's really their personality, and the more, what I like about TV that you don't get to do with movies is you get to live with them for a very long time. Like I got to live with Oliver Queen for 8 years of my life. So it starts influencing you differently, and you're like, oh, I have another idea, because as the character's maturing, you can mature the music.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Yes, I have my Flash beanie and my arrow necklace.
Oh, nice. Where'd you get the arrow necklace?
Amazon.
Oh, nice. What does it say on it?
It says, "You have failed this city."
Perfect.
Yeah. I really haven't taken it off since I got it. So
Did you find Arrow 8 years ago, or were you new to it?
No, I always knew about it and wanted to watch it. But then I don't know, just as finally, not finally, but when everything, we went into quarantine, I was finally able to watch it. So I was like, this is a good part of quarantine. That's a good reason.
Yeah, it's a good time for binge watching a lot of things.
Yeah.
What do you think of the crossover episodes? Those crazy crossovers.
Yeah, I love them.
They're intense, right?
Yeah, they are. Yeah, I love.
This year was the biggest, with 5 hours long.
Yeah. 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 So I'm just finishing Arrow, and so I'm binge watching that, and I binge watched all of the Flash. I rewatched it. So yeah. That was my big summer project this year. So,
and you've interviewed some people from the shows, right?
Yeah.
Who have you had on from the Arrowverse?
David Ramsey, Paul Blackthorne, and Colin Donnell.
Amazing.
Yeah. And Kayla Compton I'm going to be interviewing her in the next month. So yeah. Is there one of your compositions that is the most personal to you?
That's tough. I like to answer this question that it's like having babies. It's like having kids. You don't have a favorite. You just like them for different reasons, and you're close to them for different reasons. There's of course some compositions that I am not close to. So that's an opposite way to answer that. But I love all of the things I've been able to write for Arrowverse. It's been with me for almost a decade of my life. And I still, to this day, you know, what is true that moves me is the very first piece I got to write with Greg, which was the main title to Everwood, the show Everwood, which just came back on HBO Max. They put the whole series on. So that if you ever want to watch the very first thing Greg and I did together, it's called Everwood.
Oh.
It's only
Okay,
four seasons.
Okay. Yeah, I'm writing that down because now my family and I have a new show to binge watch. So.
Yeah, it's great. And that was our first one together.
Cool. Okay. So you play a lot of different instruments. So which one came to you the most naturally and which one was the most challenging to learn?
Well, piano I've been playing since I was 4, so that's the easiest for me to play, although there are much better pianists than myself. The next thing, I guess, would be percussion, because I was a drummer and percussionist, and I also played French horn when I was in high school band, but I've forgotten that completely. And I would say the hardest thing for me to play is still guitar. I wish I could play it, but I pick at it. I have many guitars behind me, but I can't play very well. I wish I were one of those people that can play, you know, any instrument. I know a guy that can, you hand him anything, he'll play on it.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So if you could have any song playing to announce your entrance into a room, what would it be?
Oh my! To announce my entrance into a room?
Yeah.
Oh wow! I don't know. Star Wars, maybe.
So
wouldn't that be fun if everywhere we went, like we were on TV, and there was music that played, like when you go out that door, there's a different song plays, and you get an argument with your mom, and a song plays. That'd be great, wouldn't
it? Yeah, it would. Yeah, I have I think all of like the soundtrack to my life would pretty much just be Ben Platt and Asher Angel, because those are the two artists I have on repeat like all the time.
Perfect. Maybe you could have Ben just follow you around and play whatever situation happens.
Yes, I would love that.
You should interview Ben. Have you interviewed Ben?
No, I haven't yet.
Just keep trying. Just keep reaching out.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. So, what is your biggest pet peeve?
Pet peeve. Talking to someone on the phone while they're eating.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because no matter what, it's very loud in your ear, and my ears are very sensitive. So yeah, chewing on the phone, number one pet peeve. Excellent question.
Thank you. Is there a line from a song, book, or movie that's had a big impact on you?
That's a really good question. I know I have memorable lines, but I don't know that one that's had like an impact I can think of. Maybe I'll come back to that. I'll keep thinking.
Okay. So if you could have anyone narrate your life, who would it be and why?
James Earl Jones, because he is Darth Vader.
Yeah.
And he has one of the best voices ever. And that reminds me of a line, "These aren't the droids you're looking for." There's a good line. That's one you should always keep in mind. It'll get you out of any situation.
So my last question for you is, who do you consider to be a real life superhero and why?
Well, I think my dad was a real life superhero. Just because, you know, growing up, you watch this person do these amazing things that you don't think you could ever do. And I mean, I actually watched my dad pull a baby cow out of a mother cow. He was a farmer. I thought that was a pretty superheroic thing. So yeah, I would say that's a real life superhero. And there's superheroes around us all the time. They just don't dress like they do on TV, right?
Yeah.
I mean, all the superheroes that have saved us in this pandemic.
Yeah.
Superheroes who were working with you and your friends at the hospital. So there's so many, and what I love about these shows and what Greg does with the shows is he shows you that superheroes are normal people, and they have problems, they have family issues, they have babies, they have fights with their spouses, they have trouble putting on their clothes, they get sick, and it makes them human so that you're able to see superheroes and real humans and not just wait for someone in a cape to show up. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I like in Arrow, I love Oliver, but like the superhero to me is Felicity. She is just like,
oh, isn't she great?
Yeah, she is.
Did Greg tell you that she was supposed to be on just one episode?
No.
Yeah, she was just supposed to be there fixing his laptop on one episode, and she did so great, and everyone loved her so much that she became this regular character.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'm so happy that she became a regular character.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so I'm so.
You know, a show that makes superheroes a little even more human and is very funny. If you want a new binge watch, is Legends of Tomorrow. It's a spinoff of Arrow as well.
Yeah.
But it shows them as very fallible people, and it's pretty funny.
Yeah, I that was actually next on my list after I finish Arrow. I was gonna binge watch that. So
that's a fun one.
So thank you for the recommendation.
Sure.
Yeah.
So how did you start this? How long ago did you start this?
I started doing a show at the studio before doing interviews. So I think I started doing my show like 5 years ago. And
oh, wow.
Interviews almost 4 years ago.
Wow. Do you remember your first interview?
Yeah, I do.
Who was it?
It was with a singer named John Clausen. So, yeah, and then just my second interview will always be my favorite because that's how I met my two of my best friends.
Oh, that's great.
So, yeah.
It's good when you work with friends.
Yeah.
I've been working with friends most of my career, and it's a great thing.
Yeah, I talk to them all. I talk with them all the time. So, yeah. Well,
what are your plans for your next? Who's your next interview? Do you know yet? Or do you have it lined up?
Juliana Harkavi on Monday.
Oh wow, great!
So, thank you. Yeah, I'm just like that. It has been my goal. I'm gonna interview everybody from Arrow, everybody from The Flash. Yeah.
Get all of them. Get the Katies. The Katies are great. Felicity's great.
Yeah.
Get Felicity.
Yeah.
And Grant is one of my friends too. You know, that plays Barry Allen.
Yeah.
He's really just down to earth person and would probably love to speak to you.
Oh, cool.
Especially if you're wearing that hat.
Yeah. I'm also wearing my Star Labs sweatpants, so
perfect. They didn't even send me Star Labs sweatpants. I'm gonna have to ask them about that.
Yeah. Yeah. So thank you so much. I had so much fun talking to you. I don't want to hang up.
What's that?
I don't want to hang up.
If you have any more questions, feel free to ask. she's good at this.
She's done it almost.
She's got a career as an interview talk show host.
You know, this is almost her 200th interview.
Wow.
Pretty impressive, right?
Really impressive.
Thank you.
And she didn't even ask me what kind of tree I'd want to be. So thank you for that.
Or if you were an animal, what kind of animal you'd be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was a lot of fun, and good luck with everyone. And I'm sure you'll get everyone in the Arrowverse. They're wonderful people.
Oh, thank you.
Blake, thank you so much for spending so much time with us here at Children's Hospital Colorado. We appreciate it.
Thank you for what you do.
Yep. You take care. Have a good night.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.